Hey guys, so we finally have the full translations completed for the 8th anniversary JP Dokkan LR characters for part 1. We have Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, and then we have the GT Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta down here. These are by far the most complex characters this game has ever introduced, which is why it took me a long time to get these translations done. Look how long, this is one unit. Look how long this is. These characters have introduced multiple new mechanics, so I'm going to do my best to explain how these characters work in the fastest way possible. So we'll just go ahead and start right now. So I've briefly checked these for accuracy. I'm pretty sure they're accurate, but there might be one or two mistakes, which I will comment down below in a pinned comment if there are any issues that I notice here. So this is going to be Universe's Last Hope, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. They are a physical type character. Leader skill is Power of Hope or Final Trump card. Power of Hope being a new category, obviously related to the Spirit Bomb stuff. Category key plus 3, 170% of stats across the board. Then they give the extra 30% to Connected Hope or Majin Buu Saga. Super attacks, we have Combined Rival Attack as the 12th key. They are infinitely stacking defense, and then they're raising their attack for one turn, doing colossal damage. 18 key is the Full Power Energy Rush. They're actually greatly stacking defense. Greatly raised attack for one turn, and then they're causing mega colossal damage. Passive is going to be the Full Power Final Battle. Attack and defense plus 200% start a turn. Then they get an additional attack and defense plus 50% when HP is 50% or more. So here, they're getting an additional defense plus 100% and an additional 1 key when collecting key spheres while in the first slot in a turn, which is going to be activating at the start of the, whenever you collect key spheres is basically when this activates. And then they're going to be getting an additional attack plus 100% and an additional key plus 2 when collecting key spheres while in the second or third slot in a rotation, pretty much, right? So depending on where they are, slot 1 or slot 2, they're going to be getting extra attack and defense. And then in terms of the additional key, they're actually going to be getting more key when they're in slots 2 or 3. Then they perform an additional attack that has a great chance to become a super attack if key is 18 or higher. So a 70% chance. Then they have an additional activation here, so perform an additional super attack of 24 if key is 24. So I'm assuming the way that this works is they're actually going to be able to do 2 additional supers. You're going to have one that's, if your key is 24, you're going to have an additional guaranteed super, and then you're going to have an additional that has a 70% chance to be a super, and then you'll also have the hidden potential system. So these characters can do 4 attacks. Yeah, pretty insane. Then they gain an additional key plus 1 and a chance to perform a critical hit for every super attack performed. Max of critical hit chance plus 50%. There was no max for key given here, so I'm assuming what this means is they'll just be able to infinitely stack their key forever. There's no limit to this, which is pretty insane. So whenever they do a super attack, they're just going to get an extra key permanently, is what I get out of this. All right, so then we have one of the new mechanics, which is the standby skill. And what this is it's just a replacement for the active skill. And this just allows the character to switch to standby. That's what the effect is, or that's what the what it says under the actual skill. The conditions to use the standby skill can be used when HP is 50% or below, or when 4 or more attacks have been performed in battle and 4 turns have elapsed. Not that bad. The effect is switches to standby for 5 turns, accumulates 1 charge count. This is a new mechanic. 1 charge count for every key sphere obtained by allies on your team. We'll get back to this in a second. Here's the voice line of the standby skill. Again, it's kind of like an active skill. I like to think of this as like an exchange. Think of this as an exchange is the best way I think to internalize how this works. Links for this character, we have Saiyan Warrior Race, Golden Warriors, Super Saiyans, Experienced Fighters, Prayer for Battle, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. Categories, a lot of categories here. Power of Hope, Final Trump Card, Connected Hope, Majin Buu Saga, Pure Saiyan, Join Forces, Battle of Wits, Magic Evolution, Battle of Fate, Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Bond of Parent Child, and All Out Struggle. Here is the post standby skill activation character. They actually turn into Goku and Vegeta base form. Their new passive skill is Connect Hope. Unable to attack outside of performing a finish, which is another new mechanic. So this character technically has 3 new mechanics. We have the standby skill, we have these charge counters, and now we have a finish. We'll get to this in a second. So defense plus 250%, guard activated against all attacks for 4 turns from first appearance, which makes sense because, where is this? Yeah, for 5 turns, you only switch to standby. So after 5 turns have elapsed on standby, you then go back to the main character over here, which is why you only have guard for 4 turns, because that's all you need. Changes the type of key sphere at random to rainbow key spheres, and then gains 8% damage reduction per key sphere obtained. Then they get attack plus 500%. when performing a finish. So this character is not attacking outside of a finish, but instead of that, they're getting a ton of defense, guard, and damage reduction per key sphere obtained, and their rainbow orb changing. So this character should be pretty impenetrable here. So yeah, 500% attack when performing a finish. What is a finish? This is the information we have on what a finish is. So there's two different effects to this. There's finish effect 1 and there's finish effect 2. Each finish effect is going to depend on how many charge counters you've accumulated by the time you use the finish. The finish is activated in the same way that you activate the standby skill. To activate this standby skill, I believe the way it was demonstrated during the live stream was it's basically an active skill. You swipe up on your screen, it's a little blue effect instead of being red. Then they exchange into the Goku and Vegeta. Then from this point forward, to activate the finish, you then swipe down on the character instead to activate one of these two effects. And which effect is activated is depending on how many charge counters you've accumulated by the time you deem it's time to use the finish. But keep in mind, you only have 5 turns because you're going to be in the standby phase for 5 turns here. So remember that charge counters are accumulated for every key sphere obtained by allies on your team, and that should also count turns where this character is not on rotation. So finish effect 1 is the Spirit Bomb, temporarily gains attack plus 15% per charge counter accumulated, and deals ultimate damage to the enemy once only, and that's usable when charge counter is 38 or below. I'm not sure if when you activate the finish, it automatically changes your character back into the first form, even if it's below or less than 5 turns. I would assume it does because it's only once only and you can't attack with this unit. So I'm assuming you just go back and forth between these things. You can only use the standby skill once only. So if you use a standby skill, then you use the finish, and then you go back to this character, you can't go back to the standby again. It's only once only, so that makes sense. And then the finish effect 2 is the Super Spirit Bomb. So for this one, you temporarily gain attack plus 20% per charge counter accumulated, and you deal super ultimate damage. This is a new multiplier. We've never seen super ultimate damage before to enemy. This is once only, and you need to have... this is actually a mistake. Let me actually change this right now. When charge counter is 39 or higher is when this is. So depending on how many charge counters you have, again, you'll be able to activate one of these two finish effects. Both finish effects give you this attack plus 500% effect as well. But clearly this one's going to be hitting harder just because it's giving you a new multiplier, and you're going to have more charge counters, and you're going to be getting a higher multiplier per attack multiplier per charge counter that you have. So yeah, this is going to be pretty insane. All right, so that was, let me actually push this down a little bit. Sorry, I'm trying to do this as fast as possible because I know people are anxious to see these things. All right, so then the links for the post, what is it called again? The post standby skill character is Super Saiyan and experienced fighters become the Saiyan lineage and tough as nails. So remember, this character can't attack in this form, but links are still going to be important for other characters and for their defense as well. So tough as nails actually does work pretty well for them if you can get that activated, I guess. All right, then we have the banner unit for this character, which is the unusual combination Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and Piccolo. Leader skill gifted warriors, 3 key, 130%. Then they have 2 different supers. This is kind of reminiscent of like the old school Gotenks Dokkan Fest characters. 9 to 11 key is going to be the charging Ultra Boo Boo volleyball attack. Raises attack infinitely, causes supreme damage. The 12 key is Vice Shout, which actually stacks defense infinitely and then causes supreme damage. Passive skill is going to be attacker and setter. Obviously a volleyball reference there. Attack and defense plus 100% at start of turn. Then they gain an additional attack and defense plus 150% when performing a super attack. High chance to change a random type of key sphere to rainbow key spheres. This reminds me of like Tech Super Gogeta, where the pre-fused version has a high chance to change a random type of key sphere to rainbow. Same thing with this unit. They recover 5% HP per rainbow key sphere collected. And then they gain an additional attack plus 50% and perform an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super attack when key is 11 or less. And then they have a medium chance to evade enemy attacks when key is 12. Links: Innocence Prodigy, Super Saiyan, Solid Support, Over to Flash, Fuse Fighter, Fierce Battle. Categories are Gifted Warriors, Majin Buu Saga, Joined Forces, Final Trump Card, Heavenly Event, Entrusted Will, Fuse Fighters, and Warrior Raised on Earth. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the GT side of the banners. Final Battle of Miracles, Goku GT and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Power of Fate or Battle of Fate, or sorry, Power of Hope. Power of Hope, not Power of Fate. Power of Hope or Battle of Fate categories, key plus 3, 170 across the board. And then 30% extra stats to Final Trump Card or Shadow Dragon Saga. 12 key is the combined rival attack, raising attack, and then raises defense for 1 turn. 18 key is Goku and Vegeta's 2-layered attack, greatly raise attack and greatly raise defense for 1 turn. So this is kind of the opposite of the Buu Saga characters. Buu Saga characters are stacking defense. These guys are stacking attack, which actually you would normally think that raising defense is better, which probably still is better. But this is going to contribute, the greatly stacking attack and stacking attack normally in 12 key is going to contribute a lot to the damage this character is going to be able to do later on. All right, so passive skill is the Do or Die Final Battle. They pretty much have the exact same passive as the Majin Buu Saga character, so I'm not going to go into a mega amount of detail here. The only difference here is the final portion. Perform an additional super attack if key is 24, we already saw that. Then they gain an additional key +1 and damage reduction. For every super attack performed, max of damage reduction +50%. This should be +10%. For every super attack performed. So instead of getting critical hit chance like the Majin Buu Saga character does, these guys actually gain damage reduction instead. So up to a maximum of 50% damage reduction here, over a 50% critical hit chance. This is really strong, and that's the reason why they don't stack defense on their super attack effects as well. The standby skill, it's pretty much the same exact thing, except instead of them doing 4 attacks, they have to be hit 4 times, which honestly is probably easier, but it's not that hard when both these units are doing 50 million attacks. So it's a slight difference, but it's not too bad. And then the same effect here, switch to standby for 5 turns, except this character, if we compare what that one says versus the Goku and Vegeta, the Majin Buu Saga one, they don't have the charge count mechanic. So the only character that has the charge count mechanic is the Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta from the Majin Buu Saga. The GT character does not utilize the charge counter mechanic. They have something else. Links are Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, Experienced Fighters, GT, Prayer for Battle, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. Categories are Power of Hope, Battle of Fate, Final Trump Card, Shadow Dragon Saga, Pure Saiyan, Joined Forces, All Out Struggle, GT Heroes, Bond of Parent and Child, Connected Hope, and Powerful Comeback. So then they turn into Super Saiyan Vegeta GT. So Goku is no longer part of the unit, it just becomes Super Saiyan Vegeta GT. This character, unlike the standby version of the Majin Buu Saga character, this character actually does attack. He can attack. So super attacks. We have the 12 key, which is Fight to Carry on Goku's Will. Greatly raise attack for 1 turn and causes colossal damage. 18 key is Saiyan Will to Protect Earth. Greatly raises attack for 1 turn, causes mega colossal damage, and then he raises superclass allies attack by 40% for 1 turn. Passive is Let's Cause a Miracle. Attack plus 250%, defense plus 150% when HP is 50% or higher. All allies gain 8 key and attack plus 80%. And then he has a revive. Revive with 100% HP when this character or another ally gets KO'd. And then attack plus 39% when performing a finish. So this character, unlike the, charge count mechanic we saw with the Majin Buu Saga character, this character instead is going to be utilizing a revive here. So here's what the finish is for this character. So this character has a revive. This is exactly the way it was written in the actual details of the character. So this is, I'm not just like organizing this the way that I want to. This is exactly how it was written for the characters and in the details that they showed us. So the revive counter is the Super Ultra Spirit Bomb. Now, what is a revive counter? The revive counter is an attack that you perform when you revive. So what this revival is, it's not just a revive that's going to put you back, in the same spot that you were when the revive actually activated. This is an attack that activates when you revive. So the revive counter is the Super Ultra Spirit Bomb that, base form GT Goku does. Conditions for this, able to be used when revival is activated, which we already saw. There's no condition on this. It's just when you or an ally is defeated. That's when it happens. And then when the counter is activated, you're going to be getting the 39% extra attack buff from the passive here. And then the effect is counters enemy with super ferocious power when this character or an ally is KO'd. What is super ferocious power? If you guys remember to the Golden Week Exchange Cell Games Goku and Gohan, Gohan had a new counter multiplier, which was ferocious power. This is actually a step above that. This is super ferocious power, which I imagine is probably going to scale with this, greatly stacking attack and stacking attack on the 18 and 12 key supers prior to you standby skilling. So that's interesting. And I assume what happens is if the enemy actually survives this, which probably won't be that common, you'll probably just switch back to the Super Saiyan Vegeta GT. I don't think you would switch back to this, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. And then link-wise, Saiyan lineage becomes Super Saiyan for the Vegeta. And then their banner unit is the Cold, Chill, and Burning Flame of the Shadow Dragons, Nova Shenron and Ice Shenron, their tech. Leader skill is GT Bosses, Category 3, Key plus 3, and then 130% of stats. Super attack is the Tornado of Ice and Fire. Raise attack and defense for 1 turn, causes supreme damage with a great chance, a 70% chance to stun. Passive skill is Conflicting Energies. Changes AGL and STR key spheres to tech key spheres, and attack and defense plus 134%. Then gain an additional defense plus 134% when attacking, when collecting 3 or more key spheres. And then they gain an additional attack plus 134% when attacking, when collecting 4 or more key spheres. Then they perform an additional super attack when collecting 7 or more tech key spheres, which they're double orb changing to, so it shouldn't be that tough. And then attacks effective against all types if the targeted enemy is stunned, which they have a 70% chance to stun there. Links are Gentleman, Brutal Beatdown, Cold Judgment, Shocking Speed, GT, Shadow Dragon, and Fierce Battle. And then categories, we have GT Bosses, Shadow Dragon, Saga, and Join Forces. There was a lot that we went through in this video. Look how long this one character is. This is one character. This is where we're at in Dokkan right now. This is how complex and intricate these characters are getting to. It's very tough for me to be able to accurately describe everything these units are doing just on paper like this without me showing you in game. So hopefully I was able to, explain to some level of detail here, and hopefully you guys were able to understand what I was talking about with these new mechanics. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope these translations were helpful, and I will see you guys all in the next one.